Driven, Remax Hallmark's real estate show, with your hosts, Johnder, Perez, and Dan Salhany.
Welcome everybody to the Driven Show. I'm your host, Dan Salhany, with Johnder, Perez, and we're here with the wonderful Samantha Nelson from Ottawa. So just a little bit of insight about Samantha. Samantha's been a realtor with us with the Ottawa board for just under 10 years. She's had an interesting ride, which I think, I'm really happy to see the people that are on this call right now, because I think that most of you will appreciate, the volatility of getting into this business and so forth. And we just wanted to say thank you and to Samantha, and welcome to the show. The show is being streamed on our social pages. We will also take it later on and we'll upload it into our Hallmark hub, and there will be a YouTube video as well that you guys can reference back to. So there's some great interviews on the Driven Show. I encourage you guys to always take the time to listen to them, because there's some really great inspirational messages and so forth. So Samantha, how's it going? Welcome.
It's going good, Dan. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. Well, you know what, guys, we're going to get right into the show. Part of what we do is, Samantha, can you give us a little bit of insight as to how this journey began?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually started my career in hairstyling, and I was a hairstylist for 10 years. And then I actually just kind of fell into real estate. It wasn't actually something I thought I was going to get into. But I did meet somebody around 24, 25, who actually encouraged me to get my license. He's like, "You're so good with people. I think you do really great in real estate. Why don't you sign up and get your license?" And I was like, you know what, maybe I will. So I think within 8 months I was licensed, and signed up with a brokerage. Wasn't really sure how to go about becoming an agent, but I knew that if I focused on it, I would eventually become good at it. So I actually started out on my own for about 6 months. And then I did my first 2 deals, which was great. And then I think it was around August, things started to slow down and I started to kind of freak out. I'm like, uh-oh, now what do I do? So I then was like, maybe I should have joined a team. So then I started interviewing teams. Then I went on a team. After 6 months, I was like, this isn't really working. The lady was making all the money, and I kind of felt like taken advantage of. So it wasn't working. I actually then after that decided to just get out of real estate and hairdressing completely. For about a year, I took a sales job, had a certain income, vehicle, expenses paid, life was good, weekends off, normal hours. And then after 1 year, I was like, actually, this is not what I want. So long story short, that year I got back into real estate and I decided to do everything I could to become successful. I hired a coach who actually was referred to me within the brokerage. And from that point on, I was in coaching for 5 years. And each year, I think the first year I got back into real estate was 18 deals, then 26 deals, then 28 deals, 32 deals, 38 deals, 41 deals. And then I think this year I'm on track for probably another 40. But yeah, it definitely wasn't I had a family member in real estate and then I followed in their path. It was completely random that I got into it. But I knew I had the people skills and the work ethic. And now it's been 10 years and I think I did okay.
I love the message and the story behind this, because I see the people that are on this call, and I know many of you, and I think that the message and the shares that you're going to provide today to everybody's really going to resonate with a lot of people, and hopefully you guys get a nugget or two out of this, right? I mean, that's the whole idea, is that you can walk away and realize that Sam's everyday people, right? And it was just about certain focuses and certain practices and so forth. So I'm going to let Johnder go on with the next question for you.
So Sam, it was sounds like it was quite a journey for you to get to where you are today. And of course, it's as Dan messaged me here, sort of like a roller coaster. And in fact, that's what it is, going from one to the other and then rediscovering your skill set in real estate. So when you were starting out, I mean, now we're seeing that you're doing a consistent number of deals in high volume for an individual real estate salesperson. When you were starting out, what would you say was some of the biggest challenges that you had faced? I know you described a little bit about coaching and building up your system, but what was some of the biggest challenges you faced as a new agent about 10 years ago, and how did you overcome it?
I think like one of the challenges that I had was like, I knew a lot of people, but they knew that I was like brand new in the business. So I was like worried that they wouldn't trust that I would be good at it. So I was like, I know all these people, but I'm so brand new that how do I like prove to them that I'm good at this real estate thing, So that was one of my challenges, but I quickly got over that because I just went out and met a bunch of strangers, and right away they're like, wow, this girl works hard. We're going to keep working with her. So yeah, like, I think I stopped focusing on maybe the people I knew and I went after strangers. And then I just proved to them that I was the best through my work ethic, So that was one of my challenges, and that's how I fixed that one. And I would say like making sure you find like one, if not two people in the business that you want to be like, like find a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
You need to learn what it is that you have to do in order to be successful. So how are you supposed to know if you're brand new in the business? Like there's no way you're going to be amazing at it. So you have to copycat people. So you got to find people that you want to be like, and then you got to do what they do. So yeah.
And the really cool thing about, at the beginning when we went onto Zoom and all this, we were all aggravated and frustrated with it. But I also think that, there's the flip side of it, which is, you get to expand your reach and your opportunities to be able to connect with people. And I think that that's been great. And I know that that's one of your biggest things. So I do have a question for you.
Sure.
You talked about connecting with people that you didn't know and all this other stuff. Were you nervous? Were you ever nervous?
No, I'm really good with strangers. I'm actually like more nervous with people I know sometimes. I don't know what it is. I think it's kind of like nobody, like with a stranger, it's like they don't know you. You can like recreate yourself every time you meet somebody. With like people that you already know, it's like there's already that relationship. But I mean, the people I know are amazing and like they're not scary or anything. But I did worry like prospecting them that they'd be like, oh, Sam, like you're still new in the biz. Like I'm going to go for the person who's got 10, 15 years experience. But actually, open houses was like the best money maker for me. Like not everybody believes in them. And obviously now with COVID, we're limited. But before, I would just book 4 open houses a weekend. So I would do like 11 to 1 and 2 to 4. I'd put signs out on both properties and I do 2 days in a row. And I'd probably have like 50 leads and they were all strangers. So I would just follow up, like massive lead follow up Monday to Thursday. And I would convert like I get at least 2 buyers a weekend. So like, I remember one February, I think it was like 2016, I did like an open house every single weekend for 3 of the weekends, 4 a weekend. So that'd be like 12, right? So 11 to 1, 2 to 4, 11 to 1, 2 to 4. So 4, 4 and 4. Yeah, that's 12. Okay. And I think like that month I did like 11 deals, and February is like 28 days. And I just made a decision that I was just going to work and I wasn't going to do anything else but service these clients, and like it worked. So for a new agent, if there were open houses happening like a lot right now, like I would focus on that. But for a non-new agent, I would probably spend my time, or for like a new agent, I would probably spend my time like emulating what an experienced agent's doing, probably.
Which sounds quite practical and quite simple, because if for those of you listening, no matter what level of experience you're in, what Samantha's describing is very logically simple, and she can sum it, but you can sum it up by just saying, just do the work, right? So for Samantha, open houses, contact sport, more exposure to people, and she found that she worked better with strangers. So, I mean, she welcomed that opportunity, right?
Yeah, for sure. And like proving to people that you want to work hard for them, people who are like, let's say like already successful, like older people, they will see like young agents trying really hard and they'll want to give you the business because they recognize your worth ethic. So that's also another option. Go after the older people because they want to give younger people a chance or new people a chance.
So it's interesting, you know, for a younger, you know, you're part of the younger generation. You know, it seems like you've erased those limiting beliefs, right? It's kind of like, okay, so new people that I don't know, but that's okay. Like, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen? And it sounds like your concern was more with the people that you already had credibility with and how they were going to receive you. And I think that that's a common challenge. Like, again, when I look on the screen, you know, a lot of people say to me, oh, I don't know how to approach my family. I don't know how to approach my friends. You know, we talk to them about touching your database and reaching out to you. Oh, I haven't talked to them for 5 or 6 or 10 years. But it sounds like, you know what, they're pretty happy to hear from you actually when you do connect with them and reach out to them.
Yeah, now it's great. Like everybody wants to talk. So just put in your time at the beginning and then like people will notice like, oh, wow, like this person's like very committed to their job and let's give them a chance. So
yeah. So it sounds to me that the message, and you know, our next question in this, and you've kind of already started on the topic, is basically how did you build your business? So if you had to look at year 2 when you decided to come back and start your coaching, right, and you made that commitment, was there financial stability for you going into that coaching program, or like were you funded or whatever the case may be, or did you just say to yourself, I'm going to do this and utilize all the tools and resources that are available?
Yeah, so it was about $1,000 a month, which was a lot of money at the time. But I asked the coach on the first call, I said, if I do everything that you say, will I be successful? And he's like, I promise you, if you do everything I say, you will make like 10 times that amount. So I was like, okay, I'm going to trust you. And like, it worked. So yeah,
Fantastic.
you got to put in the work. You got to put in the work. And there's always something to do, whether it's door knocking around like one of your colleagues' listings to say this house just sold, that's a stranger, right? Or open houses once everything goes back to normal. Like there's always something you can do to get in front of people and show them who you are.
So it's interesting that you talk about door knocking, just because I know that there's limitations with regards to the open houses and stuff like that right now. One of our agents from Canada, not to get off topic, I was talking to him yesterday, and he told me he was out door knocking, and he door knocked like 40 or 50 homes just to say, hey, it's me, I'm in the neighborhood and so forth. And he's actually got a listing lead that he should be listing in the next week. So I think that erasing the limiting beliefs is brilliant, and just getting out there and doing all the things that we talk about at all the trainings and the sessions and so forth, but it's actually, you know, executing.
Yeah. And also like the world keeps track of your efforts. So like if you're trying and you're putting in the time, I promise you, like it's going to work. Because there were so many times when I was like, man, I don't want to do this. I'm shy. Like I'm actually pretty shy, like believe it or not. But getting in front of people that you don't know, like door knocking or something, like I used to be so scared, but I also like the first time I did it, I got a lead and I think I got a listing. And then the first time I contacted a for sale by owner, I think I got it. But then I would stop because I'd get busy. But like, I feel like the world was like noticing that I was like putting in the effort. So you have to put in the effort and you got to get out of your comfort zone. Like real estate is a people business and you have to get good at talking to people. It is what it is, you know?
And Samantha, speaking of time, because you mentioned the word time there, and just before the show, where were you just before logging on to this?
Okay, so I was actually at the gym and I was like, I like brought my blow dryer and I was like, oh, I should do my hair, and then I was like, crap, I forgot my brush. So I put my hair up, but I didn't want to cancel on my trainer because it's an appointment and he's making time for me. So yeah, I actually like rushed over to the Carling office, which is like a 3-minute drive. Right after.
There you go. So and the point that we're trying to make,
like, I'm not perfect. Like I could have put more makeup on, I could have done my hair, but I was like, I don't want to miss my appointment.
Yeah, more so. I mean, in terms of time, in terms of appointment, and in a sense, you know, going to the gym with a trainer is an appointment. Prospecting is an appointment for many of you who are, again, listening to and finding out what is the secret to how Samantha works. Samantha, what does a typical day then look like for you? Because we know you go to the gym before 1 o'clock. How do you get so much done? How do you get so many contacts, prospecting done? How do you get all these deals done? What do you do from the moment you get up to the moment you call it a day?
So I wake up, I drink like 2-3 coffees. I love coffee. I drink some water too, walk my dog, and then I just answer text calls. And between 9:30 and 10:30, I mostly just make lists and contact the people that are helping me right now. So like I have a social media person helping me. I have like an admin person helping me. So I just kind of touch base with them. They ask me if I need any help. I tell them what I need them to do for the day. And then typically just like answer emails, get the things out of the way that I have to do. Like, for example, last night I sold a house for multiple offers. There's certain things I have to do today after this call. I'm going to go drop off flowers at the client's house, make sure that they have everything that they need. So like every day's kind of changing. Like that's one thing I like about this job is like, it's always different. You're never bored. You may be scared some days because you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, if I'm doing the right thing, but mostly like it's exciting. But any given day, like wake up, have coffee, figure out what I have to do for the day, delegate the tasks out that I need help with. And now I'm like doing personal training, between 11:30 and 12:30, Monday to Thursday. And then in the afternoon, I go on appointments from like 2 to 6. So if anybody wants to like see any properties, I try and do it in that time frame now, or if there's like an inspection,
So
like a call.
So Samantha, when do you set your day up? Like, how
Okay,
do you, are you a week in advance, a day in advance? How do you set that up knowing that, because I know that you've got certain times for certain things.
Okay, so I'll be honest, like I am not perfect at this still, and I'm always refining every single week. And you would think after this many years, I would have the most amazing, perfect routine, but I do not. I find like, because real estate is like having like a plate with like all these like clients on it, and then there's like all these other things you have to do. So your plate's always changing. So you have to like work with that. But like your morning routine, I would recommend make that super concrete. Like, do not have anybody take your morning away from you. You need to get those things done, whether it's delegating or working out or, walking your dog, for example, and then go on appointments in the afternoon. Unless it's like a listing appointment and the person could only meet in the morning, then obviously go for it. My coach taught me, like, as realtors, like we should always be focusing on income producing activities daily. So just like let that sink in. But if you're not making income that day, then you should just be getting organized and keeping in touch with people. You should also be prospecting. Sorry.
So I just want to rewind to 5 years ago.
Sure.
The year that you did 18 transactions. I mean, prior to that, you had given up, right? You had gone back into a different industry. Yeah. You had basically said, this is it, I'm done, I'm out. And then I remember during our pre-interview, you said to me, I went to work for somebody and then I realized, oh my God, I'm going to kill this person. I could never work for somebody. I need to be my own, quote unquote, my destiny is my own. Where I end up is because of me, and that's how I'm built, and that's what I need to be. So talk to us about that year, because to me, that's your rebirth into coming back. And what did that look like as far as what your day looked like then? Because today I know you've got lots going on and lots of transactions and you got to meld things, but go back 5 years ago. Do you recall?
Oh my God. Okay. So I was like, I got to remember where I was living. So I was living in a condo downtown, and I just hired my coach. His name was Barkley. And I ended up having him for 3 years. He was great. I had a huge whiteboard. I was tracking everything. I was doing open houses. I started getting, the first year. Oh my God. I don't remember.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. I think as soon as I heard you say whiteboard and tracking things, for me, it was that, okay, I'm in. Right, because those things that you put in front of you on a daily basis, and those goals or whatever you want to attain, are typically the things that come to fruition, and they create a sense of responsibility and action at the same time. So I'm going to, let's talk about your motivation. What motivates you to perform at this level?
I just like always, I'm really into self-improvement, and I always want to be better. And I think I have like this conscience that is always talking to me, like, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. So I think my motivation comes from that voice inside of me. But I also like have met a lot of really amazing people that are successful, and you know, from all different backgrounds. And you know, my background, if you ever want to know anything more about me, you can ask. But like, doesn't matter where you've come from, like you can be successful, you can earn a lot of money, you can have the life that you want. So for me, like, I want a certain income per year. Real estate provides that. Yes, you have to work hard for it, but I think my motivation mostly just like, I like making money. I love helping people, and I kind of always want to be like doing better than the year before. So it's just, that's where my motivation comes from. Like, whether it's a personal goal, a fitness goal, or a real estate goal. When I started in real estate, I was like very transaction focused. So I wanted to keep beating myself every year. And that's why I knew my numbers when you asked, because I remember tracking everything and being like, okay, last year I did this many transactions. Next year I want to help this many people. And then I have just maintained, I guess, for the last 2 or 3 years. But does that answer your question?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like the financial and the lifestyle that this business provides for us, right? But you're also looking at it as a business, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, how much can this business fuel for me for opportunity? And I know the really cool thing, and for those of you that either know or don't know Samantha, I think one of the things that's really, really valuable for your conversations with your clients, because I know that you bring a lot of value to them. And when we spoke earlier, you know, so you finish this is interesting. You finish a transaction or some kind of dealing with a client, and what's the first thing that you kind of go into?
I'm like, now you need to save to buy a rental property. So I plant the seed, and then like everyone who does want to like grow their wealth in real estate, which a lot of people do, everyone's trying to better themselves, right? So they'll reach out to me like in a couple months, like, oh, hey, like we've got some savings, like how much do we need? And then that conversation starts. So I plant the seed after I've finished the transaction.
How often does that happen?
It happened a lot this year. I had a lot of repeat clients come back and buy investment properties this year, more than like any other year. So I haven't, I don't know.
So it's essentially you're putting it out to, it sounds like you're putting it out to the universe, right? And also putting it out to the consumer, and not being passive and waiting for them to contact you about, hey, you know, we'd like to talk to you about this. It's you saying, hey, the real estate was really strong, and if you want to build something for your future, here's an opportunity, let me help you. And I know Samantha's had some really great successes because, you know, over the last 6 or 7 years, she's done some renovations, she's done a little bit of development, and bought some investment properties for herself as well. So, you know, it's great that you can, you know, talk the talk and walk the walk and so forth. Johnder.
Absolutely. So, and it's at the same time, your continuous improvement is like, it makes sense that you're athletic, you're into working out, because that's something that's activity that's measured and continuously improving. So it's great to see that you've been successful and continue to thrive. So Samantha, a lot of the realtors joining us today, some of them are Hallmarkers, some of them who will be watching this later on when it's live on YouTube and you become a YouTube star, are coming from other brokerages. Some of them may be starting out brand new to the industry. Some of them have had a couple of years experience, and others may be looking at reinventing themselves. What would your advice be to anybody watching you, listening to you? What would you tell them about, you know, what's the important thing that they should be doing in our business?
Yeah, I would recommend that people write down their goals daily, and if they can't do it daily, then do it weekly. But I find like if you're always just like thinking of things and not really taking action, then that's the solution. So like get clear on what it is that you want. You always need to know what you want. Once you know what you want, then you write it down and then you figure out a plan. So it doesn't matter if you're starting out like year 1, year 5, or year 10. Everybody has like things that happen in life that can like debonk them into, you know, whatever. But anyone starting out or struggling or not sure how to like direct themselves, like, right, figure out what you want first and then make a plan on how to get there.
Absolutely. And from how you've described your career, your business, your success, it's been very clear to you from the beginning. I mean, in spite of the challenges you faced early on, you knew what you wanted. You learned, you were a student of the business, of the craft, and then you followed those that taught you how to do it. So that's such an amazing piece of advice.
Actually, just to comment about that, you know, I actually don't think Samantha knew what she wanted, because in the first 20, she's shaking her head up and down.
I just knew I wanted a lot of transactions.
Right. And as everybody does, but I think those first 24 months was just a kind of a learning curve and a realization. And, you know, we speak before this show, guys, so we get a little bit of insight on the person that we're interviewing, and that's given us their time to share and so forth. And I think there's a huge alignment here with some of the challenges that all of us, like me back 30 years ago, and for some of you that have just jumped on board recently and so forth, there's a very consistent theme. And I think it's just, you know, Samantha, when you told me that you dropped out, essentially you gave up and walked away from it, and then went back out and realized, no, this isn't for me. There's an avenue here for me. But I think you came back to it with a bigger sense of responsibility to what you had to invest into your business with regards to coaching and direction. And I just love that you asked your coach, you know, if I'm going to spend this money, is it going to work? Right. And I think that it's, whether it's money or whether it's time or a combination of both, right? It's a matter of essentially of executing.
And
Johnder?
also I had somebody in my life at the time constantly saying, stay focused, stay focused, stay focused, stay focused, stay focused. So maybe you need to find somebody who's like your cheerleader that's going to continue to tell you to like stay focused and like remember your goals. So
it sounds like some accountability as well, and being willing to be accountable, right? Because you know what accountability is all about, guys? It's all about feeling guilty if you don't finish the task or execute or whatever the case may be. And it's for yourselves. It's not the person that's keeping you accountable, right? It's supposed to be internal. And I go back to this business, and I'm so proud of Samantha because I've known her pretty much throughout her whole career and seen the ebbs and flows that she's gone through, and to go from nearly no transactions or very few to, you know, coming back and rewinding and revisiting yourself, and then now tripling the business that you're doing in a very short period of time, I think is brilliant. And I don't think you're any different than anyone else, other than the fact that you've made that conscientious decision to stay focused, stay on target, have some goals, and then the realization of, hey, if you do all those things and you do all the things your coach is telling you, so whether it's training or whatever, it'll come. It may not happen overnight, but it will in fact come. So we just wanted to open things up. Does anybody, I've put Samantha's contact information here, and I know we have people on the call from multiple regions. There's people on our Facebook group that are tuning in. So Samantha Nelson, so it's snelson@hallmarkottawa.com. Her contact phone number is 613-864-5257. I encourage you guys, one of the great things about the show is being able to expand your network and to connect with one another and look for opportunities, because you don't have to be in the Ottawa market to connect with somebody that you think you might have a good jive with, that can keep you accountable and so forth. And technology is a beautiful thing, right? You can stay in touch with people and emulate them and so forth. So just wondering, does anybody have any questions for Samantha? Is there anybody out there that, don't be shy, put it out there, put it in the chat, put your hand up.
someone ask me a question, please. Just kidding. No pressure.
Does anybody, now I'm going to tell you, like, I watched Samantha. So let me ask you the first question.
Sure.
So the other part was the interview. Now it's the question part of it. You mentioned, well, two things. First of all, you mentioned you're going to your clients tomorrow to take them flowers. Do you do that every time?
Yeah. So sometimes like I'll have somebody do it for me because I find, not everybody like doing a sale, like whether it's like a listing or a buy, it's really stressful because it's very intense. So I'm like, I don't really want to bother the client immediately after, but I do want to give a kind gesture. So sometimes I will have somebody just drop it off and then I'll send them a text and be like, hey, I left something on your front step. And then there's like no pressure to have like this 20-minute chat that you just had the day before where everyone's happy. So sometimes I do delegate that part out, but in this case, she wants to take a photo and in front of the sign and that kind of thing. And I really like her. So I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable with her. Like, it's not just business. So I'm going to bring her the flower and take a picture with her in front of the sold sign.
So speaking to that, you've had
Yeah.
some really great successes, and I've been watching your social platform. So can you take 30 seconds and just talk about, did somebody tell you this is what you should be doing? And you guys should follow Samantha on her Instagram and her Facebook, guys, because she's got some really cool posts, and I love them because most of them bring the client into your marketing and your advertising. So can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So social media has actually always been kind of a struggle for me because I'm like, I don't know if in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if I'm good at it. Am I consistent enough? I'm a real estate agent, but I'm not an expert at marketing. So I've had a lot of people actually help me, which has been really nice. Now I feel like I've been consistent and it's like really working, but the whole reason behind it is I feel like it's like reverse prospecting. So, they tell us you got to prospect, you got to get in front of people, you got to talk to people. Well, in this case, now that I've been doing this for 10 years, like everyone who I've dealt with, like in a client relationship and friends and family are on the social platform. So I feel like it's a good tool to like reverse prospect back to the client versus calling them. So that's why I'm really going to be spending like a lot of time continuing to work on that over the next year, to hope that, more leads come in off that. Does that answer your question?
So are people noticing you on your social platforms?
I think so. Yeah. Like people are commenting and like friends and stuff are like private messaging or like encouraging. It's actually really good because your friends will encourage you on like your stories or your wall posts, which is always nice to see. So if you with people.
So for a newer person, let's say 3, 4, 5 years or less, maybe not a lot of inventory type of thing, and really just getting going, what would be a great message to get out to their platforms?
Can you repeat that, Dan? Sorry.
Sure. So if you're fairly new in the business, you don't have a lot of buyers, you don't have a lot of sellers, you have a bit of a network, right? But you're just getting going. Yeah. What would be a really great message if you didn't have those sales or those clients to stand next to say congratulations to Tom and Mary? What would you see as a really great way of interacting with consumers and showcasing yourself as a professional in the industry?
Mm-hmm. Well, my first question would be like, what did the person do before? Like, is this a second career or is this their very first career they've ever had? They say to always like hone in on who your target market is. So if, let's say the person's coming in from a past sales job, maybe their past clients would be their target market, or if they grew up in Ottawa or where they're living, like maybe their target market is the people they know. But you're supposed to gear to whatever your target market is, like the content that they would like to hear or learn about. So if you don't have any deals going on or any inventory for sale, I would probably try and give information via the content on social media to help those people understand what's going on in the market, to become the expert, to that target market if you were just starting.
Yeah, so be informative.
Yeah.
And it looks like you have a bit of a mix. So quickly glanced at your Instagram, Facebook, and on your Facebook business page, you've got, of course, mostly real estate. And then on your more, I guess, personal/business accounts, you've got a very good balance. One thing I noticed too when I was looking up Samantha, when Dan said that we were going to interview you, is the first thing everybody, and this is not just for Samantha, this is for everybody, in fact, the first thing that a lot of your prospective clients will do is they'll Google you. And
Yeah.
what I noticed, one of the first things I noticed about Samantha Nelson is if I was choosing a realtor, I'd be very impressed at is 45-star reviews on Google, right? So, and we're going to be doing a review course, how to get 5-star reviews. But Samantha, and then we also have a question that I'll jump to afterwards from Javad. But how do you get? What's your secret about getting? Aside from obviously doing the right 5-star work and service, but how do you get your clients to jump onto Google and give you a 5-star review?
Yeah, so aside from doing a really good job and killing it for them, to make sure that they are happy, I think just a lot of people have said, like, during the process, like, Sam, we're so happy, like, if there's ever anything that we can do to show you how grateful we are for all this extra work you're doing, because sometimes I'll often like manage trades, like if we need to like get a house ready and it's like needing some renos or like painting or whatever, like I'll do that on the side and like manage it for them, or I'll do something extra or something. So when they make that comment of gratitude saying thank you, that's when I say, well, actually there is something you could do. Would you mind, like, whenever you have a chance, it doesn't have to be now, it could be at the end of the sale, would you mind like leaving a review on any one of the platforms? So at that point, I kind of have them verbally commit.
Right.
And then I follow up after the sale when I know things have gone well and I say, hey, would you mind? And then they're often like, yeah, no problem. And then I'm just like, no pressure, like no rush, whenever you have time. And because I like lay the pressure off, I think they do it faster because they're like, oh, we just want to make her happy because she made us happy.
Absolutely.
I love it. I love the message, guys. I hope this is resonating with you as to, and I don't want to call it simple, right? Because it's not simple, but there's nothing super salesman like here. There's no pushiness. There's just a build a relationship, meet enough people, do a great job, give them 5-star service, go above and beyond that 5-star, right? Check in with them periodically, help them potentially create opportunities for their benefit down the road. And it just kind of all comes back full circle with all that hard work. So did you want to go ahead with Javid's question?
Javid's question is what kind of gifts and costs that you spend, what kind of gifts / costs you send to your past clients if you do different occasions such as Christmas, holidays, their birthdays, closing anniversaries. So do you have sort of a budget for that, or do you just do what you feel?
Yeah, so for the longest time I was doing like these gift baskets. So they were seasonal. So one of my girlfriends actually would make like 10 at a time, and then I would just bring those to the final walkthrough before closing, and I would say thank you so much and kind of close the loop at that time. So I was doing gift baskets. Then it was like a side hustle for her, and she was like a full-time nurse, and she went back to school and she was doing this, so she stopped doing the baskets. Then I kind of went into trying to make the baskets myself, but I found myself like that was too much work, so I stopped doing that. Now I'm just doing flowers, like a really nice bouquet of flowers, a bottle of wine, a handwritten card, and sometimes a gift card to add into that. And it's still kind of like ever changing, but definitely on the final walkthrough, I try really hard to have it ready. If not, then within a week, I'll bring over the flowers and wine.
But you don't miss.
I never, ever, 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 ever miss.
Regardless of the size of the transaction.
Regardless, you have to show your appreciation. These people are hiring you out of like how many other agents in the city. So you got to show your gratitude back. And I know it's awkward sometimes to thank people because you're just like, okay, now what? Like, how do you end the conversation? It's like, thank you. Sometimes it's like really awkward, but you have to. And if you're too shy, then just drop it off on their front step, take a picture and just be like, oh, I just left a little something for you. Like they will remember that.
Goes a long way, right?
Goes a long way. And it's like a token of gratitude, which you want those people to feel that from you.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds like you're, you rewind, you stepped out, you stepped back in, you found all the people to surround yourself with, and to communicate with. And I know that you made an effort in that part. It didn't just come to you. You actually went out there and sought out certain people that were actively doing great things in the marketplace and kind of started shadowing them and talking to them and hanging out with them. And and I think that that's really important. So I don't see any other further questions. Oh, hang on. Yes, we do. Thank you, Brandon. So when you first started, did you ever do leases or did you go straight into resale, and why?
Yeah, actually I did do some leases when I first started, and then I kind of stopped doing them because they weren't really around, but I probably would have done them. I would do like anything to build a relationship with a client if I was just starting out at this point. I would not say no to a lease, because that person could potentially turn into a purchase later on down the road, or like once you've done a good job on that lease, you tap into their network, right? You may get a referral. So
yeah, it's not always about the direct transaction, but it's about the branches that come from that, right? That can create opportunity and open up opportunity for yourself. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great question, Brandon. Thank you so much. I don't see any other questions on the call, so I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you very much to Samantha for sharing your insight and your some history on your challenges, your ebbs and flows, and congratulations on your successes to date. And I'm sure that you're going to continue to grow and continue to improve your business and make modifications as they're required and so forth. And thank you to Johnder for hosting the show with me as well. And thank you to all of you guys, whether you're here on our on the actual Driven Show or whether you're on one of the Facebook networks. We will be uploading this interview onto our YouTube page as well, and onto the Hallmark Hub, so you can go back in and watch if there was any tips or whatever the case may be, or just if you're looking for some inspiration, right? It's 30 minutes. Listen to the good stuff. Listen to people that are in your industry that have succeeded and are propelling forward. Forget about all that stuff that's on TV. Stuff like this is gold. So again, we thank you very much, Samantha, for taking the time to be with us, and really, really appreciate. And we've posted her information in the chat, but if anybody needs to get a hold of her, you can reach out to myself or Johnder, and I encourage you guys to network with one another, right? These are great people, and I know if one of you called her or emailed her or texted her, she'd be happy to have a chat with you and try to give you a little bit of direction and help you with some of the pitfalls and some of the positives and negatives. You're getting lots of thank yous there, so you guys are.
That's so nice. Thank you
guys. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Samantha. Thanks, Dan, and thanks everybody.
Thanks, guys. Have an awesome day. Great week.
Take care.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye for now.